What's up, everybody? It's 8
Hi,
o'clock,
friend.
and you are. I should have waited for an answer. 8 o'clock, and you are sitting at the Fireground Training Bureau kitchen table because we can't sit at each other's kitchen tables without wearing masks and getting a temperature check on the way in the door. And this week is going to be a lot more mellow than last week's beginning was, primarily because there's alcohol in this mug. So welcome. We'll do a quick roll call for everybody that's here currently. And as people pop in, we'll try and get to them. And this time I will not skip. As a matter of fact, I will start with Tony.
Hey, everybody. I'm Tony Combs, firefighter EMT for about 20 years. Providence Township currently.
Chadley.
Who, me? Oh,
Yeah.
Chadley.
The only Chad we know.
I'm Chad, Providence Township Fire and Rescue Captain. Been doing this for a little while.
And Kevin. Saw you liking some stuff on the Fireground training page. Welcome. Nice mustache.
Thank you. Kevin Lynch. I got 7 years, Bondwell Area Fire Department up here in Wisconsin, currently lieutenant and fire instructor at our local tech.
Awesome. Welcome. Logan.
I'm Logan, firefighter EMT, going on actually just 2 years and a couple days. Worked for a few different departments in the Toledo area, primarily Springfield Township, Monclova Township, and Providence Townships where I got my start.
Oh, you aren't even going to cite Explorers as your start. That's fine. No, that's all right. No.
That should be my true start, I should say.
No,
that's where I really got it.
I won't take it personally. You're going to be muted the rest of the game. Jared?
Jared Baker. Been in the fire service around 6 years. Currently lieutenant at Rossford and over at Springfield Township.
Congratulations on your promotion, sir. I'm not
Thank you,
standing
sir.
up, though, because then you won't see me saluting. And people in the podcast are like, we can't see that. So I don't know why he's saying it. Joshy?
Josh Druid, Fire Chief, City of Rossford. Hi, Jared and everybody.
It's
Hi, Chief.
Lieutenant now, Chief.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Lieutenant
no
Baker.
longer Jared.
Yeah, well, Lieutenant Jared Baker, his awesomeness, eminence.
Jason?
Hello, my name is Jason. I am with White House Fire Department, and I have 22 years on the job total.
Good to see you, as always. Well, hear ya. We don't get to see what cool background you've got from some tropical locale today. Not yet. At least.
Yeah, I'll figure something out. I'm on my tablet lounging right now.
Oh, nice. I don't blame you. Joe Ott. If you just want to introduce yourself and tell us where you're at. I feel like I end up picking up people. Last time I got a message when I called somebody out and they're like, I can't answer in a public bathroom. I'm like, we have listeners everywhere. It's really great. We'll do Craig then. Who may also, we're just going to assume by default, if people don't answer now, they're in a bathroom, which is just a good, quiet place to listen to this. All right, we'll go back to some of the Fireground Training Bureau staff. Dan Turner, who I have a question for you, Dan.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you posted a video earlier on Instagram. Did you, and I'm going to reshare it on the Fireground Training Bureau page here in a second. Did you really respond to a structure fire in the bed of a pickup truck?
Sure did. So it was it started off as a chimney fire, which we got 2 engines on a ladder truck for that.
Mm-hmm.
We were the 4th due engine in that area, but we were clearing a medical call.
Okay.
The 2nd due engine was about to scratch, so I keyed up and offered to take in the run as the 2nd due engine. And the 1st due engine pulled into the working fire. So with actually like a fire like in the house, not just chimney.
Oh.
So they did the wise choice of laying out, and then we finished their lay, but it was still like 800 feet. So instead of my unhealthy fat ass walking up there, I caught a ride in the incident commander's pickup truck.
Oh, okay. So it's not like you came in from the station in a pickup truck. I'm like, I know he works in West Virginia, but come on.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know me, my name's Dan Turner. I'm a lieutenant of the rescue company in Jefferson County, West Virginia. I work for Loudoun County Fire Rescue as a backup engine driver.
You can't drive it forward? Dan
No,
Dorner.
just backing up.
Okay.
Damn it, Derek.
Dan Dorner, second only in time he was born, not favorite of our parents.
Hi, everybody. Dan Dorner. Been in the fire service 11 years. Started at Rossford, then worked at Spencer, and now I'm on Toledo.
Awesome. Craig and Joe, either of you guys want to introduce yourself before we get started? If not, that's fine. No pressure. You won't be muted like Logan, but feel free if you'd like to. Or if you can't talk, you can send a message and I can just tell people about you. Going once, going twice, sold. All right, so tonight's topics. We're actually going to start with the one that's been pushed back twice now. Last week by orneriness. The week before that, I think we hinted at it. Chad, do you have yours with you? Of course you do. And coming from a Toledo police family and a very traditional fire service mindset in terms of helmets, the fact that you're not only going to put on a European helmet, but you're also wearing a Toledo police shirt hurts me twice. There it is. There it is. All right, before we start the debate, what do you... Because I know people got something to say about it. What's your take so far? How long have you owned it? Oh, you're muted.
Oh, that's what I just said. I put the helmet on and I become stupid.
I wasn't gonna say it.
I was
A week
going
and
to
a
gloss
half.
over that.
A week and a half. All right. Have you gotten the chance to wear it on an incident yet?
No, because I am waiting for other pieces and parts to come before I put it in service per se.
Okay. What do you think so far?
Like everybody says, a little bit of diminished hearing. Not
Sorry,
bad.
what now?
I was
Almost
waiting
had
for that
you.
one too.
Damn it.
A little bit of diminished hearing, not heating. Other than that, man, I cannot give it an honest review of a fire because I live in Providence Township.
All right. The floor is open. Let it out. It's the kitchen table.
Starting bid $50.
For the new helmet?
Yeah.
Or slightly used.
I'd like him to pay me $10.
To take it off his hands.
Yes.
Where's Hartbarger?
You don't have backup, dude. It's just you.
Yeah, I know.
You are all alone. I think.
Well, I got Tony.
Yeah, Tony's on your side.
I'm all for the helmets, but on you look like a fat version of Ponch or John from Chips.
Oh my god, I never thought about how much.
57 married 69.
Tony just killed a man.
After that, peace out.
Yeah. Oh my god, he turned his video off. Oh, poor Chad. That's so mean.
I should have
No,
said
I'm-
Husky.
I'm fully expecting to be on Hifty within a month.
Oh, we could make it happen sooner.
I could just post it on myself and just get it out of the way.
Yeah, it does steal the thunder a little bit.
I'm surprised nobody on Facebook's already screenshotted it and posted it.
Well, we are live streaming on Facebook and on fireground4.com, so hopefully somebody's picking up on it. So here's my real question. Like, because there's another picture I sent you. I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet, so I'm not going to name drop, but I did come across a fireground picture of like one of my mentors, one of the most badass firefighters I know in another city. And he has one, and I didn't know he has one, and he's wearing it in a city that I'm kind of shocked but he's the kind of guy that like, he's common sense with stuff. He's going to wear the thing that feels comfortable, that, you know, there's a level of, he doesn't give a crap. And so I guess for the rest of us that are like, I haven't tried it yet. I'm willing to, like, but I'm kind of scared. It's like,
I tried Chad's on, and it is unbelievably light and wickedly comfortable. I mean, if you didn't have to look at it, it's amazingly comfortable, and there's no, with a traditional helmet, you get a little bit of that weight swing or bob. There's none of that.
It just sounds like you're describing a past relationship. It's incredibly comfortable, but it's rough to look at. And I don't know that I'm willing. God, I just don't know. Like, I'm afraid I'm going to fall in love with it, but I'm not going to. I have 2 leathers, and it just feels like sacrilege. But also,
from fit alone, I'm sold. When I get the stimulus check, I'm not going to buy an AR. I'm buying a Euro helmet.
Wow. And now, like, half of the group that's on right now is just like, no AR.
I know.
Wow. Scotty's shaking his head. Welcome, Scotty. Good to see you again.
It's unbelievably comfortable.
I work for a pretty progressive department. Like, we do some pretty cool stuff, and sometimes some not cool stuff. Actually, a lot of times some not cool stuff. But we actually got him the demo. We got it. Oh, damn it. Sorry, place of work.
At least you got the volley job.
Yeah. We got 10 of them to demo for our PPE committee, and immediately they ruled them out.
They ruled them out?
Yep. They did not want to go to them. And it was their idea. So it's not like they got forced on them. The PPE committee wanted to try them out and see if they'd like them. I'm not on that committee, so I can't really speak as to why they shot them down so fast. The only reasons I know, they didn't want to. So the hearing, obviously, that's an issue. Not a big issue, but a significant issue. So that's one of the issues why it got shot down. I'm trying to think what the other issues were. I can't think of off the top of my head though.
I was gonna say, is there any chance they
did not want to move to that?
Is there any chance they did a report on them that they could share?
I believe they did. I might know a guy that works there that might be able to get that for. I believe so. Yeah, I can take a look, see if I can find it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think I talked over somebody else for a second. The joys of Zoom. Maybe not. Yeah, it's interesting that they ruled them out that quickly, especially like if you had said they gave them to when we trial stuff, it's usually the busiest crew in the city that trial stuff. And I would imagine that some of that would go back to, they just don't like the idea. But if you're saying that the same people trialed them that asked to trial them, that raises some interesting questions. Josh, you've got your hand up.
I do. A quickie question for Chad. Chad, did you have to buy that yourself, or did Prov Tucky buy that for you?
I bought it myself.
Okay, thank you.
Can we ask how much you paid for it? Your wife is not listening, is she? No, she always listens to these. Damn it. Yeah, just
$500.
Okay, so same as a leather, basically.
Is that how much?
Sorry, wait. Is that American dollars?
Yes, that was American dollars. That was not a euro.
500 euro.
I'm sorry. How much?
500. And I hear my wife yelling.
That's much cheaper than like what an N5A is going for right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're like $800.
How much are Phoenixes going for right now?
Couldn't tell you.
I think about 750. I looked at one.
8, 9.
Welcome, Mike Lord.
Mike. God
hello.
Mike.
I just got home from the old 2-9er there.
Oh, we got the Rossford trifecta today, and your buddy Chief Hartbarger, who's in the background, isn't even on the call today.
I know.
Bummer.
I forgot I had this background for my Zoom call because the last time I used it was in my Fire Officer 1 class, and apparently I never changed it. So we're gonna run with it.
I like it. What's your take, Mike? You gonna wear a Euro helmet if it's more comfortable? If it actually does feel nicer? Are you in Tony's boat?
No, never. No.
You're on the same river?
Not even, no. Like Tony, if we're talking like water-based things, Tony is on the West Coast with all them hippies. And I'm in Lake Erie where it's dirty, nasty, grimy. Let's go.
Well, at least you know you'd be someplace where it's dirty.
Now, again, I will say that I tried to hate this thing. So give me reasons other than look.
Look.
So
Let's be honest, Chad. Look, come on.
I think
So
one of
it's
the
your
questions I
ego.
had, I know
It's you guys' ego that's getting in the way of you wearing this helmet. You don't look
100%.
like what you think a
Yeah.
firefighter.
100%. 100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
You're a bunch of pussies.
Okay, but tell us
take
how you
the
really feel,
vagine.
Tony.
Yep, I'm with Josh there. I'll take the vagina for this one.
So neighboring department beside us, they switched the whole department to those. A couple former members from our department that live now in their jurisdiction wear them. They complained about hearing each other, and sometimes it's tough because the way it covers your head. But the couple aggressive guys that we had, they hate them.
And what did they say? Why they hate them specifically? The guys that you're talking about. The
way they fit. He talked about, again, can't hear. He just he's a 20-year guy who's used to being able to certain the way it feels in the hood and everything else. Now he's got this thing that comes all the way down around and his head and whatnot. He says, I can't get used to it. He goes, it's hard to communicate with the crews. He goes, it's just a pain in my ass.
now,
And it wasn't his idea. He's just a black hat, but he complains about it every chance he gets.
does anybody have it integrated with their comm stuff? Or anybody familiar with that that's on the call that's thinking about it? Because I wonder how much of a difference that makes, but still that face-to-face communication or that, oriented search or whatever you're doing. And I'm not looking for reasons to hate it. I think I'm very much in we have an obligation to set the good example, which I'm laughing because it's hard to do when I want to look like a cool firefighter. I watched Backdraft as a kid. I want to look like that. That's what, can you imagine if they were in Eurohelmets? I think they did that when they shot the second one that doesn't exist in my mind. I haven't seen it. I refuse to watch it. But
in the 5 minutes I wore it, the hearing is, to me, the diminished hearing is negligible.
Craig's got his hand up.
Hey guys. Hey, I'm in Indiana Fire with Scotty. I sell fire equipment for a living.
Nice.
And I had a demo helmet with the comms in it before, and the comms definitely help, but it's the I don't know if you want to say this surround sound that you're kind of losing out on your surroundings. I never tried it in the department, on a call, but customers that did try it, that's the feedback that I got from them as well. They loved it. Otherwise, the comfort of it and everything else, it was just the noise was their biggest thing.
How many of them, do you know if any of them went back to their old helmets, or did they keep them? Or
the department that I actually had them trying them in, it's actually in Canning. That's about 45 minutes from us, not even. They actually some of them still use them down there. Okay. So they said it wasn't enough to, keep them from not wanting to get them. They liked them that much. That was the MSA version.
My thing is what about feeling that heat? Is that make a big difference at all in there? I feel like that's just another layer
to get an idea of how hot you're in.
Yeah.
Basically.
Does that?
Well, and then you've got the question too that I never really heard from them. If they got to use them in actual fire, I mean, they have since we sold them to them, but when they were trying them out, they have it. So I would like to reach back out to them and see how they've performed over those environments.
And I don't mean to alarm you, but there's a deer right behind you, Craig.
It came through your wall, dude.
Meanwhile, Craig used to have, or Chad used to have a bunch of deer on his wall, but he just lost $500. Turner, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, so I know one of the claims is that it's safer and ergonomically better for the firefighter. But are there actually studies to show that there are? I'm open to reading it, but I just haven't seen any. You thought it would have been posted somewhere at this rate, but I haven't seen it. To show that it's safer. What's making it safer, and where is that documented versus 1010, 1044, or N5A or Phoenix?
Matt, your department's been wearing them. Can you chime in on it?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Matt.
Hey. Sorry, I had to put the daughter to bed.
Oh no, you're fine. I'm glad you didn't delay that just to talk to a bunch of dudes on the internet. That'd be weird. Right. Good to take care of your parental responsibilities. So you're in Edgerton, right? And you guys went all Eurohelmets
for the most part, yeah.
Okay.
I think the biggest benefits that we see is, if you're doing overhaul or if you're trying to spray above your head, first of all, the helmet's not as heavy. It's not as top heavy, whereas, typically what we have or what people have now is kind of, if you get off center, you're a little heavy. The other thing is if you're, like I said, if you're working above you and looking up, you don't have that brim running into your tank. So you can work directly above you. Not a big deal. I heard someone say something about the heat, and I guess I can't speak to that as much, but I guess my thought on that is if you are, even in the equipment that you have now, if you're feeling the heat as much as what I'm thinking you're saying, then it's probably almost too late anyway.
I think it depends on the gear you're in, and I mean, there's the heat absorption aspect of it, and I was gonna say Dan Dorner, my brother, when we got our new hoods for the particulate filtering or limitation, he actually had his hood catch fire in a training burn and didn't feel it. And so, our gear has gotten really good at sheltering us from that and making it hard to read the conditions. And maybe that's part of, full speculation here, but that's part of where we get in deeper. And then all of a sudden we feel really hot. And it's because our gear is absorbing so much until it's not. And we don't get that gradual transition into that, which is, when we do think about using temperature as an indicator or a training device, we're losing some of that just because our gear's gotten to that level. So, but I think our hoods have gotten to that point too. So depending on what hood you have, if you're using an older one, maybe you will feel it a little more, and that will be some sort of indication. And, and I think that comes back to, it sounds like a lot of personal preference stuff, but I'm kind of looking on, I'm scrolling Google Scholar real quick to see if there's any like actual research articles that, there's all these news articles from the US where departments are saying, yeah, we went to the European helmet because, well, the Europeans have been wearing these for 25, 30 years and there's research to show they're better. It's like, okay, but where's the research at? I want to see the primary sources. Plus, I mean, let's talk about the difference between European fires and American fires, right? There's a reason we don't do the high pressure piercing, compartmentalized stone building fires, because those aren't our kind of buildings. And maybe some people buy into that stuff too, because, well, it works in England, but we're also our own country. I think we had a whole thing about that to get away from England. So maybe we shouldn't encourage them by wearing their helmets.
And like to that point too, like, Euro versus US, like if I'm mistaken, please correct me, but don't a lot of Euro departments not even have connected hose lines? Don't they have to actually take their hose lines off and connect them to the truck?
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, are you talking like FDNY, like no pre-connects? Like or are you talking, because they don't have, like FDNY doesn't have pre-connects.
Well, I guess
departments that don't do that.
FDNY didn't either, but
yeah,
I meant.
But I don't think they stole that from the Europeans. I think they had that. I mean, they changed their name, so they weren't. What were they before New Amsterdam? Never mind. New York is still kind of British though. But anyway, yeah. So I'm not against the no pre-connect thing. I think math would be hard for a lot of people though. But yeah, we need like a European firefighter on here.
I was always under the impression that European firefighters were a lot less aggressive. That might be ego talking though.
No, I've had a couple conversations with some guys that are European, and by the sounds of it, yeah, they're not as aggressive as we are. They, like, a couple of the guys I've talked to were like, we're crazy for just getting on the roof and venting.
They think of us how we think of wildland firefighters.
Badasses.
Those dudes are nuts.
Badasses.
Well, I found one study.
I go to like 2 fires a year. They should not think of me that way.
Well, I want to read the abstract of this study. for one specific reason. So this is the European, Japanese, and U.S. protective helmet, gloves, and boots for firefighters. Thermoregulatory and psychological evaluations by Ju Young Lee et al. And the purpose of the study was to investigate the physiological and subjective responses of the European, Japanese, and U.S. firefighters' helmets, gloves, and boots for international standardization to see if anything would be good across the board. The results showed there were no significant differences among the three conditions in oxygen consumption, heart rate, total sweat rate, mean skin temperature, or rectal temperature. So good to know that no matter what helmet you're wearing, your butthole is going to be the same temperature.
Where do we sign up for this kind of test?
Yo, that means they tested those people. So you showed up to test helmets thinking it's just a normal helmet test. And they were like, hey, we got to check your temp. You're like, all right.
Somebody drew the short straw on that.
You're like, all right, let me lift up my tongue. They're like, no.
Here's the question. Do you think they did it periodically, or do you think it was like when you stick the thermometer in the roast to see when it's done?
Continuous
or maybe it was
temperature monitoring.
One of the little ones that pops out, the red part pops out when it's done.
Oh, God.
Scotty, please save us.
Hey, we had a French fireman as an exchange student for a semester here at IUP in Indiana, Pennsylvania. And he lost his mind when we showed him the types of buildings we were going into. Again, they're post, World War II, everything's made of concrete.
Mm-hmm.
When we showed them like, oh, we're going to this, he was like, you're out of your minds. Like, you'll have a good time. Like, and by the end of the semester, he was, gung ho and going after things. But he was like, you're crazy. Like, this is unbelievable. My second comment is 30 plus years in the fire service. I worked with a lot of guys that only wore leather gloves to fight structure fires because they said, hey, listen, when it's bad for my hands, it's bad to the point where I'm somewhere I probably shouldn't be. And so, not that we continue to do that, but every once in a while we'll catch, a job or something, and you'll catch an old guy with a set of gloves on, and the new guys are like, what's he doing? And I was like, well, it's just the way they did things. That's how they, they knew where they were at. I guess, with new hoods and everything else, how do you understand to the point where you're somewhere you don't belong, to where something is on the verge of failing or sending you a message that, hey, it's time for you to go. And I don't know if that's your hood, your helmet, your, everything else going on there, but at least it's you feel a little bit of the changes of heat and what's going on. And you're like, maybe we're somewhere where we shouldn't be. And I don't know if that helmet, covers all that down to the collar of your coat. And I mean, it just gets to the point where you're like, okay, we've been here a while. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. And that's, we want that full encapsulation, but at what cost? And especially when we're still seeing people. I was just talking about this today in my instructor class, reminding the students, don't have people pencil the ceiling. Don't have people pencil the fire. If you're that worried about putting it out, then you should prepare another place to start the fire in another room and have that ready to go. But we can't be teaching them don't flow water. And we all know everybody here I'm sure knows that's the deal, because we still have people dying on the nozzle and they've got the tool in their hand to save themselves. But either they don't realize it's that hot, and I don't have the technical information in front of me. We're talking very anecdotally here to be clear, but is it that point where we don't have, again, that gradual transition to uncomfortable, or we get those first indicators, like you're saying, Scotty? Are we just going from 0 to 100 and then it's too freaking late? And granted, we could be watching conditions too. And I get that, but also I just feel like there's been such a reliance on that heads up, especially as it's been passed along. How do we make up for that? And some people are going to say, oh, the tick. Okay, sure. I get bringing a tick in. There's great reasons to have a tick, but like, I'm not, until I'm convinced otherwise. And I probably legitimately need to take a class from somebody who is a tick genius, but I'm not going to stop and check the ceiling temperature every 10 steps. If it feels warm enough somewhere on me, I'm going to flow water the entire way in until I find the fire, if it's that warm.
Shout out to those Underwriter Laboratories. They've got a a series where you watch them and do different things, and they're doing all these tests on horizontal and vertical ventilation. And the last one I just talked about, they open up the flow path horizontally, and the temperatures were 500 degrees when they opened the flow path. 2 minutes later, it was flashing over. I mean, 2 minutes, not a lot of time.
No, not a chance.
What are you doing? And unfortunately, we don't have, these new kids don't have 30 years of experience to say, well, we've been in here a long time and it's about time for it to get really shitty and we got to go.
Right. How do we, I'll share this anecdotally as well. There was a department that I heard from a reliable source. I usually prefer to cite my sources, but we'll go with a reliable source for this one, that every time they had like an injury or a line of duty death, they were adding another layer of protection to their gear. And that was kind of that reaction, even from some experts in that field of fire science engineering, that were like, you're just insulating them more. And it's not really extra protection. It's extra weight, it's extra bulk, and it's extra, security in the mind only. So, like, how do we
fail? Like you said, the stuff's going to fail, and when it finally gets to the point where it fails, it's too late. I mean, you're in a really, really, really bad situation. If you can give them some warnings to that point, like, hey, it's oh man, my ears are my ears are getting hot here. Like it might be time to go. I just, like I said, and this isn't just the helmet issue, but again, the helmet was the idea that, okay, I'm not getting that, sensitive ears. And I can't tell you how many times I've had my ears burned, where even in training and you're like, rats, I'm not covered up right or something's going on. And man.
Well, I think though, and again, just like everybody else says, correct me if I'm wrong, but at least in my experience in fires, if you're in a room where there's no visible flame and it's hotter than hell, versus you're in a room where there's visible flame, there's a definite increase in the radiant heat. So if you're standing next to a room that's going and you walk past the doorway, the radiant heat that you feel is far different from the generalized whole heated atmosphere that you feel in an actual fire where it's getting ready to flash or it's getting ready to roll across the ceiling. And I mean, I can recall crawling across the carpet and seeing the top of the carpet fibers. We were that low and already felt the heat on the back of my fucking neck. So, and if you're crawling, my helmet is protecting me from that if we're at radiant heat. So it's whole room heat, and watching the top of the carpet fibers start to curl over, and then my mask starts to distort. My lieutenant's going, come on, keep going. Come on, keep going. And I'm like, we need to start throwing some water, sir. But I guess my thinking is this: we take a lot of risk in the job. And, we talk about, we get our ears burnt from time to time, or we get a blister here and there. To me, if that is your indication that it's time to get the fuck out or start throwing water, you might be waiting a little bit too long. So if I'm the type of person that's going to wait too long, if I got to choose the part of me to get burned, it sure as hell is not my ears or my neck or my face. Those are the things that I want more protected. I would rather wear a thinner pair of gloves that maybe exposes the tops of my hands, how we teach people to check a door with the back of their hand instead of their palm, because if it's too hot or they grab the handle, then they burn their palm and then they can't, they lose their dexterity for the rest of the time before they pass out and die. But I would rather see something else where the top of my hands has a little less thermal protection versus my ears. The benefit to the helmet to me is the overall protection of the main shit that's going to keep me alive, and that's from the neck up. And the things that are going to allow me to function in the fire service in the future: my ears, my face, my brain. So, soapbox.
Hey, we'll pass it around.
The little bit of brain that you have.
Shots fired.
If mine's little, yours is microscopic.
Hell
I'm
yeah,
talking
it is.
brains, not organs.
You know that. There ain't There ain't nothing up here.
And yeah.
No, I agree, Tony. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, you know, if you're getting to that point, you know, it's almost too long. It's almost, in my opinion, I think it's too long. If you're waiting for that type of thing. And I threw the comment out a couple weeks ago about, it was more tradition based, but about, you know, firefighters not used to having to wear packs, so that way they could go find the fire, so they could smell the smoke. You know, that could have been a way also, you know, if they knew that they were getting too much smoke, that they had to get out. But it's just an evolution of better protection, better equipment. And I think I agree that, you know, I want that protected more. Heat, debris, whatever.
And statistically, line of duty deaths are going down. I don't know what's happening offhand with injuries, but we've seen line of duty deaths dropping with other initiatives, right? And most of the line of duty deaths anyway, like we kind of talked about last week, are from not wearing your seatbelt and being fat. So, and by that I mean, you know, out of shape, like some of us could work on, and the heart stuff, right? Like just not eating right and stuff like that. So we are focused very much on the fireground part of things right now, but realistically, that's still like, yeah, we might have some better indications on the what's happening around us if our gear was older, like Matt, you were saying, like, yeah, that was the whole argument for not wearing packs. Like, yes, things need to progress, but then I don't know. I feel like on one hand, the tick is the replacement, seems like the go-to answer for a lot of people. You know, or checking the temperature at the door is a big thing. And it's like, I get that, but how many people are getting that level of training with the tick too? And maybe somebody else can weigh in on that. Dan Turner.
So I took a class not too long ago, actually about a year ago, about using your tick and getting the most out of it. And the one thing the instructor said over and over is that your tick helps you make decisions, but it is not the decision-making tool. You are the decision-making tool. But the tick, you know, only aids you in making that decision because it's a machine and it's prone to failure, just like everything else. It's, you know, something could very well go wrong with it, and, you know, not be effective for you to use.
Well, and that I've been on fires where we're doing overhaul and somebody's like, well, somebody left with the tick, so we don't know if we got to open this up. It's like, what did you do 15 years ago? What did you do 10 years ago? Like, open
Right.
the wall. And it's like, and it's not dumb firefighters. These are good firefighters that have said stuff like this. And it's like, you know, but it's the stress of, you know, oh, you have to have your tick, you have to have this. Like, yes, I understand there's a reason you should have it. And I understand there's valuable information or spotting that victim or whatever it is, that there's value to having that tool. But I feel like that, you know, that indication of an over-reliance where overhaul is getting called into question now, it's like maybe we've been stressing some stuff too hard. And again, it goes back in my mind to where are the basics at now? Is our baseline for our basics in training and how we handle fires has not changed in 200 years, 150 years. And it doesn't necessarily need to. Like, yeah, we can add tools, but the basics, if all those tools fail, right? If our, you know, Kmart's not even a real thing anymore. If our if our target, you know, scanners to scan people in as they go in the building for accountability, and our, you know, our iPad command chart and our tick stop working, what do? Well, we go back to the way we did it before, but we need to still have accountability. We still need to know what our conditions are. We still need to know how to read the conditions and how to react.
Are you saying we need to start training in bucket brigades, Barrett?
Okay, not that far.
I mean, hey.
Although that video
basically
posted earlier on the Fireground Training Bureau page that we got from, who was it? Hold on, I gotta cite the source properly here. It was from Drew Elliott from Smoothbore Nation. He had posted a great write-up about civilians, and maybe we'll talk about that in a second. But the live video that he shared from a guy named Snow Tony, I know you think you're cool, but you're Snow Tony. And citizens going inside with a bucket trying to throw water onto a fully involved bedroom fire, it looks like, from the stairs. I didn't even notice the person in their underwear getting out of the house. Bonus if you need another reason to watch the video, I suppose. But like, yeah, that obviously we're beyond that. But what I guess we're just not at the, I don't know. Are we losing the basics because of all this other crap? Or are we relying too much on the way it used to be, in the sense that, you know, there was pushback like there is with the European helmets. There was pushback with SCBAs too. And now we're wearing those all the way through overhaul a lot of places.
I could say a little bit of both. I think people, just human nature, people don't like change. You know, we all like what we do. We all like our set ways. And then I think also we are relying a little too much on the ticks and the machines that are there to help us.
And I agree with that. I think part of the issue is as an experience issue. I mean, I know a lot of departments do not go to very many fires, so it's hard to get that experience. It's hard to, you know, you might become more reliant on these other tools and these electronics when you don't have that call volume, that experience to know, like, yeah, we should definitely open up this wall, or nah, we're good with leaving this in place. Yeah, again, I think with the limited call volume, you're stuck to, and that's going to be my excuse every time for every argument. But yeah.
You accidentally tripped a trigger, Turner. With the what do we need to open the wall? Well, we don't want to do more damage. We're not here to do more damage. And I get
open
most
that
of the time
wall.
we're in vacant in
well,
my
like,
city. I get that. But
open
also,
that wall.
It's gonna be a vacant house if you don't open the wall and make sure it doesn't get to the attic and burn the roof off.
Yeah,
and
right.
check the attic, but you know, open up.
It'd be real awkward if we came back in 3 hours because the whole place is going, and then the house is really vacant. Actually, it doesn't even exist anymore. It's just we made a parking lot. So I'd rather tear out the $20 drywall than you know, raise the whole house in 2 hours.
But it's amazing that that's the kind of stuff that I just don't know where people are getting this stuff from. Like, is it the live experience? Like some of the people I've heard that from are people that like do construction in their house. I don't know how much drywall costs because I'm not putting it up, but somebody probably does. And also I would be fairly certain that the smoke damage to the drywall means the drywall's going to get replaced anyway. But anyway,
Not always.
No, just clean it up. Yeah, you used to do that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, just scrub it up, rub it up, scrub.
Yeah, some. Yeah. They got like cute little sponges. It's kind of cool. But I mean,
sponge painting.
As a homeowner, I would rather you rip my wall out than my house burn down. I kind of like my house. My wife likes my house, and as long as she's happy, that's all that matters.
She just
so the question is it your house or
she's right
both
next to
of your
me.
house?
I'm gonna blink twice because I'm in trouble.
Also, as a homeowner, I would not really have much trust in any fire department that has to come back to finish their job. You know,
wise words.
Yeah,
Jared
I'm
Baker,
probably pulling
wise
those
words.
reports. You know, like if you got to come back a second time, and now the whole house is going, or the house no longer has a roof because it didn't get put out the first time. I'm pulling those reports. Probably going to go talk to a lawyer. Good luck.
And that takes us back to that conversation about accountability. But how many people are really doing that? They're like, oh, well, you didn't get it the first time. We get it. It's fire. It's nature. It's like the tornado came back. Like, nah, you can't help it. Except we can. So why doesn't that happen?
Because we're wearing European fire helmets.
Oh God.
There it is. No more European fire helmets. Shut down. Cancel them.
I still want to try one. I still want to give it a shot. I want to give it an opportunity to disappoint me, or to fall in love with it, even though it's hard to look at.
And Barrett, you can't come to my birthday party anymore.
If I'm wearing a European helmet?
100. Yeah.
What about the 4th of July party? That's the better one. I don't care about your birthday.
I don't think you can come to the 4th of July if you're wearing a European helmet. 1776 Barrett. Just saying.
Before you lose any sleep over not going to his 4th of July party, take a good look at his online pictures of how him and his buddies all dressed the same in their Uncle Sam shorts.
Oh,
yeah, you're
I
jealous
was there,
of that,
and I was so disappointed that I did
It
not
looked
get
like
a pair
a
of those
Village
shorts.
People reunion.
Yeah. First off, Katie Taylor custom made all those shorts. So, and I do recall somebody wearing spandex one time because he was going running, and I believe I still have that lovely picture somewhere of you in spandex.
The last time I saw that many tea bags and American flags was in an illustration in a history book of the Boston Tea Party.
Yeah. Exactly. Bringing it back.
I don't need to see that part again, but the party itself is pretty fun, and I don't want to be uninvited or declared independent of the party.
Why don't we just start calling them jet style helmets? Let's get rid of the European style.
So
we'll call it a different name, make it more manly and acceptable.
No,
that's the name of it. It's a jet style helmet.
Well, that's because they're trying to make it more manly and acceptable.
And the only reason why I'm defending it is because I'm trying to like the helmet.
Right.
I will agree that Bullard did not get the menu on appearance because the Bullard helmet looks like bad circumcision.
You heard it here first, folks.
It is.
Put that on the Bullard website. Craig, you don't sell Bullard, do you?
Tony, you're killing our.
We're gonna
you're
lose
really
a-
killing our opportunities for
Our
sponsorship.
sponsorship.
Here.
Yeah, really screwed that up.
they were just getting
Craig's
ready
not
to pick
answering.
up the phone.
Yeah, Craig was already texting me about sponsorship, and now he's out.
Dad, have you worn yours at all?
Other than around the house and at the fire station, no.
Look, see, he's even embarrassed to wear it out. Look, he won't even go on a run with it because he knows.
But again, are you worried about your safety or are you worried about your ego?
Johnny and Roy would have been safer wearing their helmet in Squad 51 if it had been a jet helmet instead of, because the bill would have caused more damage if they got in a crash.
Is there actual data to show that it's safer, or just
I can't find anything
safer?
It seems like it's preference, and so Chad sent out the link to this next gen firefighter helmet study, or summary rather. It's not really a study, but that problem description is just talking about fire helmets that also double as ballistic helmets because 2021, even though this was published in 2019, but talking about what would be options for ballistic helmets mixed in with fire helmets, which is just so screwed up that we have to do that.
But
there
just
are none on the
looking at
market, in case you're wondering.
But
And how
just
heavy is
looking
that?
at it, you can't deny that it affords more protection to the sides of your head, your ears, your critical areas. I mean, there's a hard shell that covers your ears, your cheeks,
Well, yeah.
your carotid,
Yeah, but I also have a wide brim that's protecting that too. And if I'm turning my head sideways
from
and stuff
things
falling
coming
on
down,
them-
from vertical hazards, absolutely.
Yeah, but nothing's really shooting at me while I'm at the fire though.
Okay, so what if you're in a car
Crawling
fire?
on something, or you're crawling through something, or trying to pass through something?
What's shooting at me at a car fire?
No, but
You ever had a car fire explode at you?
Yeah, but those are struts that are going to be rocketing towards you and
Yeah,
gonna
the
go through your
velocity
leg.
of that
It's not
strut's
gonna-
coming out is going through whatever.
Yeah, that's nothing going to stop that. Unless you have ballistic protection, which we just found out from the next gen firefighter helmet research. You'd have to wear a SWAT helmet, and that would stop. That would maybe.
So
stop
if a floor fails underneath you, and on the way through the floor, your body tilts to the right, left, or back,
triggered.
Why did you turn?
And your head is going to impact whatever jagged shit is sticking out of that floor. You want it to hit you in the fleshy part of your ear through a hood because it looks cool, or do you want it to hit a hard plastic shell that's going to protect you and protect your jawbone, protect your ear,
I
protect
wonder
your face?
what kind of impact that is rated for. And I will say, my helmet did fall off when I fell through a floor. And I did have my chin strap done because I am religious about doing my chin strap. But my helmet fell off and I landed on my butt. Like I essentially stepped into a hole that I didn't see. Even though
I
thought
feel
I
like
fell
that
to the
is
floor.
like one of those like I mean no offense in this, Uncle Tony, at all, but I feel like that is like a far reach scenario Like, you know, it
In
it's
his
a,
defense, though, it could happen. I mean,
it could.
Yeah,
but I
and
mean,
we are in the worst
Yeah,
case
but
scenario
I'm-
business, but what kind of impact can it really take from something sharp and pointy or even blunt to
Yeah.
the side of your head? You're still gonna have a neck. You're not wearing one of those NASCAR neck things. And I'm playing devil's
Take a
advocate
neck
because I haven't tried
injury
one of
over
those.
a puncture wound any day of the week.
But is it really going to stop a puncture depending on what size you're getting? Like, I can't imagine you hit a wrought iron fence jumping out a window. The helmet's going to do much to stop. You know, I don't know how thick or what velocity that can take.
I would assume it's rated at the same that the top of a traditional helmet is.
But it's designed to take a different impact, right?
there is only one way to find out. Chad, we need your helmet.
And a spear gun.
And yes.
You'd be the battering ram to the door.
But you think about how stuff is designed, right? Like the fire helmets, I'd imagine. And does anybody ride motorcycles here? Because I'm guessing nobody flies jets. So you got a motorcycle helmet.
Don't
Where
ask
is it
me about
designed to take
helmets.
the impact versus a fire helmet? And because I don't know where, if there's a certain point, if it's all the same across the board, but I got to imagine it's thinner here than it would the protection on the top. But a fire helmet, I would still think that a jet style fire helmet would be geared toward more a top impact still. And this would still be thinner, especially for the hearing consideration aspect of things. I can't imagine this is as thick or spaced out as this is. Chad, can you pull yours up and look and see?
Put it on.
I looked at Chad's and actually checked that. Other than the
nice.
perforations,
Yeah,
it is the same thickness from the sides to the
no
top.
kidding. Okay, well, and that's why I'm glad we talked about it. I will say the jet thing is a good angle because it reminds me of that volleyball movie with the jets in it.
You also have the full size.
Are you talking about
shield.
Top Gun?
Yeah.
As Chad just pointed out, it also has the full pull down face shield.
Mm-hmm.
And it has the half too, doesn't it?
I don't.
You gotta put it back on.
He's waiting on it.
You're not putting it back on?
No.
We don't think you're any less of a man or a firefighter.
I do.
A little bit.
Okay, you guys are ruining it.
Just because it's Chad.
Okay, so with or without the helmet, Matt's on that page. You're not gonna put it back on?
No, so if you're not talking like interior, like there's been barn fires and whatnot, and I've used the full face shield instead of an SCBA, and it's been significantly better.
What is it like to wear that with an SCBA mask?
Oh, it's nice, actually.
Is there talk to me about any differences? Is there anything that you've noticed that
there's more protection here? So your mask sits back a little bit, and I'm yelling because
does it? It doesn't sound like you're yelling, but I'm glad you're honest. Does it mess with? Does that come far enough ahead? Turn your head one way or the other. Now turn it the other way. Now put your left foot in. Now put your left foot out. You just did the hokey pokey. Does it Stardate. Does it interfere with your peripheral vision at all, or is it the same as the mask? We won't get into the peripheral. I can't get into the peripheral vision debate because my department puts your mask on as like the first or second due rig before you get out of the rig, and people flip their shit over that. So we won't start debating that, but I was just curious.
No, there's no change in peripheral vision. I've had my regular plastic traditional helmet on and this one, and there's no change in peripheral vision.
Okay.
You definitely, like the first couple times you have to try it on to get used to it, because it is different putting your SCBA mask on with the jet helmet versus the normal helmet, but once you get used to it, it's not bad.
Benny and the Jets.
So I just sent a link in here. No, you're good. So I was doing some more.
I thought you were muted.
I was. I fell down a rabbit hole and I ended up just searching like MSA XF1 or whatever the model helmet it is. And this is actually from MSA's website. It's all the certifications they have based off the helmet. Some of them have like their electrical stuff, like it's really in depth. Some of it's in like French, German,
Josh, I love you.
some other stuff like that.
That is a Tinder picture if I've ever seen one. Wow. Sorry, Logan. You have great information, but we got distracted by that beautiful picture of Mike Lord. Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. There is a lot of information. What did you find that specifically stood out to you as interesting as you went down the rabbit hole? Did you get to compare these ones with leathers?
No, I didn't.
We won't even talk about plastic. Nah, we can't talk about plastic.
There's just a lot of stuff. I don't know what some of the stuff means because it's all engineering stuff, and I'm not an engineering major. But I think if you want to really go into it, there's a lot of useful information if you really want to dive into that rabbit hole.
Who wants to be our Alice? Mike?
Not I.
Who can read German?
Nine.
My neighbors are gonna call my landlord. I swear he's over there just speaking in German, just shouting, and he's talking to people, but they're not there. It's very weird.
Oh, Becky Nick kind of knows how to read German.
Yeah, there's a lot of certifications in here. And like there's some stuff in here from IEC, so
I will say in Mike's defense, this is an MSA folder named Certificates and Declarations. And I would imagine in here somewhere there's the Declaration of Independence to say we don't wear Euro helmets.
Yeah, I believe that's in there somewhere.
I feel like
I know in my great grandpappy's diaries before he wrote the national anthem, he wrote about that we don't wear Euro helmets.
Is Nicolas Cage gonna pop out at some point, or
just saying?
I love that. Like,
I'm trying to find a picture of Hartbarger right now.
Last week, I thought at the tail end of this, I thought it was probably the most accurate representation of the true Firehouse Kitchen table we're trying to go for. Today, I think it's this. We've got Logan, who's really trying to push like real information, and then the rest of us are just screwing around, just being idiots. Like, we're not going to solve anything, but we're going to have fun just making stuff up and being angry for no reason.
I'm sorry, Logan. I apologize.
Chad, I have
Logan, you're doing
one
great.
question.
Keep it up.
I have a question for Chad.
Bad people.
What?
My penis got larger.
No. How's Ashley? How is Ashley taking the Euro helmet?
I don't know.
Does she like ignore you more now? Or
no, it's always possible.
Sorry, for clarification, did that happen when?
And she is watching the live stream, so I am getting more and more in trouble.
Ashley,
she needs to log
how
into
do
the
you
Zoom
feel
call
about
so
the
we
Euro
can confirm
helmet?
some
The
information.
European helmets are clearly cheaper, only $199, so that's a good selling point for them, right? Right, Chad?
No.
Oh, he already admitted to $500.
Help me out, man. Come on.
Look, here she comes. She's
He
getting
tried, but it's not Euro. Is she coming in?
She's a hater.
She's like,
My
your
dog's in
penis
here
did
now,
not
too.
get bigger.
He's full body.
I think she just yelled it did. We don't need to get into this. What is happening?
She's giving
This is getting so
instructions to a
bad.
deaf dog. You come to the dog and it's deaf.
What?
Exactly.
Yeah, you got it. Oops. Where do we go from here?
Transport engines.
I was just about to say it.
I was being good.
Nope.
I was being
It's
good.
bedtime. I'm out of here.
We do have other stuff on the list we can get to before we got to hold on to transport engines. We don't have our subject matter experts here for transport engines.
Hey, Barrett.
Yes, Jared.
So the German
Lieutenant.
documents.
Yes.
Yeah, the German documents were just like a regulatory branch of the German government describing like the different temperatures that the helmet can be used in. Rough summary.
And they're probably in Celsius.
Yeah.
Nobody
I was just
say anything.
I was trying
Nope.
to think like and just
See, and I do have an
we went
engineering
back to being
background,
serious.
so
Oh wow, Chad, just way to rub that one in. Chad
We're
just
rubbing it in.
I'm kidding, Chad. I love you.
And on the private text message,
The metric system is
situation,
actually better.
definitely got another. Yeah, well, just got another shot of Dark Helmet from Spaceballs, of course. Oh gosh.
I'll say it again. I expect to be on Hefty tonight. Who's gonna do it?
It won't be me. Dan Dorner, you got it.
Oh, you know Dan's already all over it.
Yeah, I think he's already doing it.
I don't typically post on Facebook, but I may tonight.
All right.
You say I love you guys.
We love you. This is perfect timing. You get to start working for Fireground Training Bureau. I keep throwing stuff on your lap to take care of, and now we're ripping you, and you have access to all our social media accounts. What could go wrong? Dan, hold off on that. I just thought about this. Let's change the subject. We had a couple other things we were planning to talk about, but I want to give everybody a chance too. Is there anything that's going on in your department that you've had going on this week that anything that's on your mind that you want to talk about before we get to some of the other stuff? We got a couple new faces here. Well, the one new face with the rockin' mustache. It's pure jealousy. Kevin, anything going on? What's going on up there for you guys?
A whole heck of a lot. Amazingly enough, we haven't had a lot of accidents since we just had a bunch of snow and ice recently. Even though it's Wisconsin, we always have it in the winter.
I was going to say, just like Texas this year.
Yeah. I think they actually got it colder there than we did for a few days. But yeah, amazingly enough, everything's been pretty decent up here. Knock on wood.
Good deal. Well, and that leads into it was almost like I prompted you for the segue, because one of the things we were going to talk about, just because I think it's like 70% of the United States is covered in snow right now, except for our viewers in Florida, who constantly text me and remind me that it's nice there, but it also like is 100% humidity in the summer. So stop trying to get me to move down there. It's too hot. Even though this sucks. So what kind of cold weather tips or tricks have you guys learned from senior guys or girls at your department, or what sort of things do you keep? We call it a ditty bag. I don't know where that came from exactly. I'm sure it's got some history. We also call folding attic ladder a dinky. So, we just like to call things funny names. But what do you guys keep with you on the rig when it's like everybody but Hawaii has snow?
I know we usually make sure the guys keep sweatshirts and, wool socks. Wool socks are amazing. Most of the guys keep them with their stuff throughout this time of the year. Try to make sure we have extra pairs of gloves with us too, for sure. Nothing worse than those gloves getting wet and it gets really bad real quick.
No kidding. Yeah, I love the who was it? I think it was Mikey Torres that turned us onto the old red ball gloves, like that they used to have. I think they're PVC or something on the outside. They're the same as the red ball gloves that firefighters used to wear. I think, Josh, there's still some hanging up at your guys' department on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah, there is by the bathrooms.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So but the inside is lined and it's all soft and it's like the perfect, racking up the hose glove for an awful winter morning. I'll have to see if I can find those on Amazon again, because I bought those a while ago and those have been having the extra fire gloves is great, but having waterproof fuzzy gloves, I'm needy. Who's had a rig actually freeze up on them? Anybody that's in here? Nobody that wants to admit it.
We had rigs freeze the tires freeze into the street from leakage or the drains on the engine draining.
Jeez.
I've had gauges freeze before, but that's about been it.
Scotty, you had a story it looked like maybe?
The neighboring department wears the same helmets. They carry the heating packs for your hands, the ones they activate and they stick them inside your gloves. They also drag around a torpedo heater on one of their first pieces out that they set up relatively quickly to warn people when they come out.
And this is the same group of people that wears the European helmets.
Yeah.
Do they have a hot cocoa dispenser on the side of their rig? I'm sorry. I'm sure it's a great
Espresso
department.
machine.
Yeah, it's
In the
true.
back of the-
It'd be fancier.
espresso in rehab.
I'm kind of jealous.
So
Not gonna
technically, we do have some MRE style coffee and hot cocoa dispensers. So that was something Our Lady's Auxiliary purchased for us, and I'll tell you, that does come in handy.
Nice. I just had to mock the jet helmets one more time for no good reason.
Listen, Chad's got it spot on. Mike, I guess I'm not invited to your birthday, so I feel a little bad about that, but I'll get over it.
No.
Chad and I will go out and we'll have a party somewhere else.
You're always invited to my birthday. It wouldn't be the same without you.
Yeah, Chad and Josh are gonna have a party at space camp.
Look, I really wanted to go to space camp when I was a kid, so that doesn't.
You did go to space camp?
No, I wanted to.
Oh.
I was never allowed to.
You know what's worse than that? That I just made fun of you for that. And Dan's already unmuted. I went to space camp.
Did you wear the type of helmet that was presented on Chad's head earlier, though?
No, I never left the shuttle. I was the commander of Columbia when Columbia had nothing bad.
Way to go,
happened
dude.
to Columbia yet.
Yikes.
Yeah. All I remember about the mission went
That
very
didn't age
smoothly.
well.
No, not quite. We landed just fine, thank you. And the only thing I specifically remember about the mission, everything went very smoothly except one of our mission specialists or payload specialists. One of our payload specialists started crying in the simulator that doesn't move. He's probably a firefighter somewhere now. So yeah, that was
Josh, are
it
you
was
gonna
very
get
scary
the
going to space in the stationary space shuttle that was just the front of the space shuttle.
I will say, back to the cold weather, the only difference when I did my tour down in Antarctica, they had
oh my gosh,
they had the pumps packed with ethylene glycol. So that was something that just was a little bit of a trick to get used to. But the majority of their vehicles were obviously very well versed in taking that type of climate. And then the other ones were track vehicles. So yeah, ethylene glycol was the only other experience we had, and that was kind of a pain in the beginning to deal with. And then you just leave your hoses because it pretty much froze as soon as we were done flowing water.
And how long did you spend in Antarctica again?
6 months. 6 months.
And do you still get annoyed when people complain about how cold it is here?
No, there was a couple fires, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago on Jeffers Road with Providence that I will say were probably the coldest fires I've ever experienced. Everything we had down there was we had obviously a little bit of extra gear, but surprisingly, turnout gear was the only extreme cold weather situation that we utilized during structure fires. But yeah, no, those 2 Providence fires that were back to back, those were by far the coldest fires I've ever been on in Northwest Ohio.
Damn.
I will ask one thing. I probably need to change the helmet out for a tinfoil hat. Is there a secret portal in Antarctica?
Unfortunately, I am sworn to secrecy. I'm not allowed to speak of said things.
How many penguins did you see?
Now, the weirdest thing we had was there was a building that monitored all the satellites that the United States obviously has up in the old sky. And we were not allowed to go in there. So fire prevention wise, it was the only building we were not allowed to touch. And they did have military representation there. So
I would have been shot.
How many
day
penguins is
2.
military representation?
Yeah, I would.
So funny. I'd never really experienced airfield type situations, and of course, I'm a big guy. Everybody knows that, right? So when you get out there, whoever the officer is for the fire department, they actually act as the tower for the C-17s that would come in and do all the offloads. So they give you the literal crash course, which is see one, do one, teach one. So we get out there, and I remember like the first C-17 I had coming in, we go out and do our FOD check, and of course there's a Adelie penguin like right out the end of the runway. and I don't know what to do. I'm kind of freaking out because I'm like, I'm new. I don't know what to do. And the guy I was with, he's like, look, he's like, you got to get that off. This plane has to come in. Otherwise, it's going to boomerang, and this is just going to be bad. So, me, I'm pretty serious. I'm like, all right, what do I do? And he's like, well, you have to act like the natural predator to the penguin in order for it to move. And I said, well, what are the natural predators here? He's like, well, you got to act like a seal. You got to get down on your belly and you got to crawl out on the runway and you just got to go, oh. So literally that jerk took a old school video because of course, we didn't really have cell phones as fluently as what we do now. But yeah, he has me on the runway, literally moving on my belly in my brown turnout gear, acting like a seal. And that still haunts me to this day. I still get that video occasionally.
Oh, can we get a copy of that?
Can you share it?
No, and I will not tell you what his name is because he is easily accessible on Facebook.
I am about to go down a rabbit hole.
We missed. The penguin did move.
Okay.
So it did.
Did it fly away?
If they would have just told me that if you drive next to the penguins will naturally just move off the runway, it would have saved me a lot of embarrassment and time.
You were in a vehicle?
Yeah, I was in a vehicle. I had to get out of the vehicle in the cold and do this while they were laughing. And then as the C-17 lands, the flight crew gets off and they pass the guy I was with a nice bottle of Jack Daniels because that's the only way you could really get some good liquor coming back down. And he's pointing and laughing at me. And then finally I walk up and they're joking about the story. I was like, you jerk, how many people have you done this to? It's like, just the big guys. That's it.
Did he give you follow-up instructions to go get 5 gallons of prop wash and 100 feet of flight line for him?
No, because pretty much then I gave up for the rest of the day.
That's the equivalent of getting sent to get the board stretcher on a construction crew.
Or the blinker fluid.
Yeah.
Blinker fluid.
That poor penguin.
Stretcher.
Yeah.
Bulkhead remover.
That penguin was scared shitless. Yep.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing that wonderful story.
I need to find this video. My wife basically works for the CIA. I'm gonna have her.
The first one that finds the video of Josh gets a free Fireground Training T-shirt.
I might just send it to you for that.
You can keep the T-shirt.
Restrictions may.
Before you post the video, you got to have somebody Photoshop a Euro helmet on you while you're doing it, though.
Oh,
he would look more like a seal.
Josh,
I would. I mean, technically, I would. You're right.
You're gonna go on my YouTube channel if I find that video.
Look, I'm not embarrassed, baby. That's all in the past. It is what it is,
All right, if you send it to me, you're not exempt from the game. You can win the T-shirt.
I already found a news article.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
The Antarctic Sun.
Oh, see, this is what happens when you get the guy that does the internet search and everything else.
Is it about him chasing the penguin off like a seal?
No, that was one of those things that is just stays within the firehouse. There's multiple situations like that, but yes, poor Sharon DiGiacomo. She's on the Facebook. She was the chief at the time, and let's just say that I gave her a run for her money. So it was a very fun experience. She was a very good chief. Very good chief.
Oh my gosh, I just discovered something else on here.
What?
Huh? I'm not gonna say.
Oh crap.
Well, no, it's nothing bad. I just didn't know you had a blog, and it's very old school from your time in Antarctica.
Oh man, I didn't even know that was still out there.
That is still out there. May 12th of 05, all the way through actually my birthday in 2006. 2 weeks.
Man.
Day 5.
I've seen my first tree in over 5 months and green grass. Nice
So,
to be back to normal society, and now it's this. It only took.
So now that was for the family because obviously in 05 you only had internet for probably I think it was like 2 hours a day roughly, and it was about 11 o'clock at night. So you could post and it would obviously once the satellites and everything linked up in outer freaking space, then things would work. But yeah, it wasn't like today. Now they got interwebs all the time and all the fun stuff that we have back here.
Nice. Yeah, I still have. Like, these aren't embarrassing. These are just little updates. Otherwise, I wouldn't have pointed it out. But you know, you probably didn't get suspended for anything you posted on a blog or nearly fired. So your blog is better than mine was when I worked at Fox Toledo.
Well,
when you're required to blog and you think you can be a little flippant, not so much. Oh man, yeah, the internet's a scary. What's that?
I said I hope there's no pictures on there. I can't remember what I posted.
It looks like the links are gone, so you're good. You posted links to pictures, so you're safe.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, you're good. I figure if this is the family one. Wait, what's the Josh Hartberger OnlyFans?
Egg on my face.
I'd subscribe.
It's all just acting like a seal. It must be.
There are people that will pay for that, Barrett.
You know what? However you got to make your money, it's tasteful. I'm looking at the pictures. I think you look more like a sea lion, but that's neither here nor there.
That's fine. That's fine.
This is a Fireground Training Bureau podcast thing, right? We're
Yes.
really close. I mean, this is the kitchen table.
Yes.
Gosh.
It actually feels like a kitchen table today.
It really does. It's really nice. It's just that it's all being recorded, and that's the scary part. God, what else is on people's
Dear
minds
future
other than
employer.
picturing Josh as a seal now? Josh, when you did it, did you sing "Kiss by a Rose"?
No. That's like a bad dad joke right there.
I know. It's so good. I'm so proud of it. Oh man. Oh, I had another joke I was going to tell earlier that was really stupid, but I forget what it was. Oh, it was the Top Gun joke. Never mind. I got to that one. This is what I do. I just sit here thinking.
I'll totally put Maverick on my helmet. I'm just going to say it. I will.
On your.
I'm getting
Nice.
the Eurohelmet with Chad. I'm getting it.
I think if you put Goose, it's unlucky. Also, can we talk about? Did you put a comment card in to ask them to stop calling it a crash course about learning how to land the plane? Terminology seems important there.
Yes, very.
What else do we have on the docket tonight? What about, you know what? This is something that's come up. It seems like we've kind of hit on a couple different realms of this, but the difference between the number of firefighters showing up at your scene for like the part paid or the, recall on the smaller full-time departments or like the volunteer departments. Going back to kind of part of a conversation last week where, calling out the officer numbers on the radios or, I think Columbus, Ohio still calls out who has command by their rank and their name. How much does that factor in? Like, does everybody, if you don't have a set assignment for that rig for the day, if you're having people respond from home, does everybody have like some sort of indicator for your people of who's actually on the rig? Like, does it matter more to you who's showing up than how many are showing up, I guess? It's a weird question. I worded poorly.
I would like to speak from like a non-officer's position on that. I know for me, like if I'm jumping on a rig, it's kind of a mix of both. I know if we're gonna be like short people, I want to be like, or say a run comes in tonight.
A run comes in tonight.
Yeah, I hate you. And as of right, me and Baker are both, me and Baker.
Sorry, Josh shaking his head. Person has to be got to a hospital. What is it? It's a big building with a bunch of sick people inside, but that's not important right now. Okay, so yeah, you and
So me and Baker are on call tonight. A fire comes in, and we have one other person that's on call. And I know with Jared, me and Jared work so much, so often together that we don't even need to talk to each other, and we know what needs to be done. So I think if we're going to be short staffed on an engine, it's at least people that I'm really extremely comfortable with, versus a whole lot of people that, it might be me, another, slightly senior member and a bunch of probational members, that haven't really with us that often. So I think it's a kind of a give or take situation for, like, at least on my end, not an officer position. You know, I want to be on the rig with, if I'm going to be on the rig with minimal people, I want it to be good people. And if it's going to be a lot of people, at least, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully everybody's, I'd rather work with people I trust and know well, but that's kind of on you.
Yeah.
But I know if it's going to be a bunch of people, well, then I'm okay with that too.
I did like talking to a guy from a big city department who will remain nameless, like one of the top 5 size departments in the country. And we were talking about truck companies, and he's like, how many people ride your trucks? And I'm like, 3. You know, our engine company are minimum 4, maximum 6 with the 2-piece companies, but 3 on the truck. And I'm like, you know, and I'm kind of like downplaying it a little because I know he's at a place, and I knew what he was going to tell me. I'm like, how many are on yours? And he's like, 6. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I wish we had that many guys or whatever. And he's like, no, there's 3 of us that do anything. The rest of them just sit there and do nothing. So it's the same number of people. It's like, that's an interesting perspective. Like, sure, if you just need bodies, that's one thing. But I think everybody has that kind of level of, you know who the workers are going to be. What, how do you, that's a weird question. I don't think I want to dive into this anymore because it feels like kind of a dead end. Because I don't really know what I'm asking. I'm going to figure out what I'm asking, and I'll ask it later. In the meantime,
I did just want to say real quick,
yeah,
Mike. First,
no,
of all,
you wear a European helmet.
Jet.
Sorry.
If it's
Go
anything
ahead.
about a European
Go ahead, Topper
helmet,
Harley.
Am I not invited to your birthday too?
Mike's gonna have a really small birthday party this year.
It's fine. It's fine. It's gonna be like, it's gonna be me, Jared, and Josh. It's gonna be a great time.
I wanted to say real quick that I agree with you on like experience. You know, you want that on the truck, but to play devil's advocate for a second, how do you get some of the newer guys, some of the novice people experience if you don't ever want them on the truck? You know, just kind of play that card.
No, I mean, I'm not saying so.
Yeah, asshole.
Like, it's
Yeah.
kind of just
No. For example, we had a fire the last year, and we had, I want to say, what was it, Baker? 5 of us, 6 of us, maybe.
So there was 5 of us on engine, 1 person already on scene, and there was only 1 person on the engine that's never been to a fire.
Yeah. So,
and he willingly took the hydrant, even though
Yeah.
we gave him the assignment of the nozzle. But he will stay nameless.
yeah, he'll stay nameless. But like, I mean, at that point, you know, I was riding the seat, so I'm, thinking, I'm like, hey, let's let him go in, on the nozzle with somebody more experienced. Let him get in there, get some fun, and get some time. I think that's when those people should get the experiences, when you have, the people to go in with them. I would honestly be nervous. I don't think there's anybody on any of the departments well, okay, I can't say that, but I know on at least at Rossford, I'm pretty confident in everybody, like at least everybody's skills to fight a fire. There are some people that you would kind of watch a little more than others. But I know I would definitely be nervous pulling up on scene with a bunch of brand new people who, never seen the inside of a fire before. That would only be my only thing, would be I'd be nervous to go in with a couple of those guys. Because how much can you, it'd be difficult to work with them, because not every fire is a training fire. You learn something from it. So it'd be difficult to go, hey guys, look at how this is changing right now. Or, because you're focused on doing a task and making sure they're safe as well. And I think that's where I'm going with it mostly, is I'd rather, if it's going to be a bunch of people, let it be a mix of experience and non-experience. versus, you know, say Jared being the lieutenant and he's stuck with, you know, 4 other people who just got out of class. You know, I would feel bad for Jared. Jared would end up just being like, "You guys stand here. I'll be back. Watch me do this." Hi, Becky.
Jared's voice changed a little.
Jared, you sound cute, Jared.
Turner, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, so Barrett, you might remember when we went to Progress. The engine sat 7, the tower sat 6, and the rescue engine sat 6. That is a lot of dudes, and it is difficult, you know. And like in a split level house, I mean, the engine is 7 people on it is a load of people. Like when you go up and visit, no one wants to ride the officer's seat because, sorry. No one wants to ride the officer's seat because.
Are you playing with your dog in the peanut butter again? You
attacked.
can't do that while we're
Leave me
trying to do a
alone.
show.
I was getting attacked. But no one wants to ride the officer's seat because by the time you get out, give your on-scene report, do a lap, get around to the front door and get your face piece on, any chance of seeing the fire is just tiny. There's so many dudes on the rig. They got the line inside, the doors forced open. They're doing a search. The search is already done by the time you get inside. You know, all you're pretty much doing is you're walking in to say the fire's now out. And, you know, you're done. It's just, I think there can be a point where there's just task saturation and oversaturation of personnel on the rig.
I kind of want to revisit something Mike said, because this is a topic. Actually, Adam Wiest and I were talking about it. He does, he's the 419 Fire Nerd, I think, on Instagram. I'm going to look that up to make sure. He does a lot of buffing in Detroit and in Toledo. I want to make sure I gave him the 419 Fire Nerd on Instagram. He posts a lot of great pictures, and he's in school to be a fireman, so that's awesome. Because he should be. His dad's a firefighter in Perrysburg Township, and Adam's a great kid, one of our former explorers.
Awesome kid, dude.
Awesome just kid. Fantastic. His nickname is Squirrel because he's a little fella, and he embraced that, and it's on his helmet. But anyway, my point is this: you know, buffing gets a bad rap here in the Glass City because piker is actually a term of like disrespect versus a term of endearment, and I am wholeheartedly fine with being called a piker because I think being a piker, somebody who's like a nerd for the fire service, I think that makes you better. Like it makes you look up more and understand more. And I'm not saying that's necessarily what I set out to do originally, because originally, for those of you who don't know kind of my background, never been to Antarctica, rarely impersonate seals, did impersonate a beaver earlier, but that was for Snapchat. But what's that? On OnlyFans, yeah. OnlyFans. Yeah, don't Google beaver on OnlyFans. That's completely different than seal on OnlyFans. But I started in broadcast journalism and spent 8 years as 6 years as a TV reporter and photographer out in the field. The other 2 were as a producer, and occasionally I'd sneak out and shoot a fire here or there. But if I roughly estimate that I went to a fire every other day when I worked 5 days a week, and I stayed over a lot just to go chase fires and car accidents and shootings and stabbings because I love the rush of what we called spot news, that crime and fire stuff. So if I went to one fire every other day of my career, I've seen over 400 fires from the outside before I had even set foot in an engine house as a firefighter. And I credit that understanding of seeing the conditions change, of seeing water shoot out of the house. And as a photographer, you know, shooting video of these fires, you wanted to, I remember there's a picture of, or a fire I shot. It was a carpet store right on Miami Street, near the casino here in Toledo. And you're just watching the smoke change from like moderate gray to, you can tell it's catching the plastic and stuff on fire in the carpet, you know, with all these chemicals in it, and it goes to black, and you know it's going to catch. And so you're tight on the door where it's coming out black, and you know it's going to start licking flames. So you get the rollover. I didn't know the terms, but you start getting the rollover, and then you see it flash, and that was the shot you wanted. Was it going from smoke to fire? And so you learn to predict the behavior of the fire because you're there to document the cool parts of it. And and you get to see everything from the outside where the incident commander sees it. And I never fully, I appreciated that, but I never really put into perspective how much that influenced my mentality as a firefighter inside the building. Because how many of you guys as new firefighters in your first 10 years saw any fires on the outside of the building and actually just got to watch the whole thing progress without having something else to do? It's not something we get to do. We can watch videos on YouTube now, which is great, but it's still, I feel like it's still different. You don't feel it, which sounds kind of weird, but you don't feel the emotion. You don't feel the, like, you hear the radio traffic, you hear the tone of voice change, you feel it for a second. You're like, oh, that little bit of butthole pucker, it goes from here to here, or that was a little too big. Back to that. Never mind. So let's start smaller and then
lost the thermometer.
Yeah, completely. But it popped and I was ready to go. No change.
Well, what did I come back to?
Oh, welcome back. We're talking about butthole pucker. So you don't get that butthole pucker moment of standing outside, hearing the voices change on the radio or watching people start moving faster. You don't take all that in and you're only seeing it from the inside. And so that's where actually I asked Adam to write an article for Fireground Training Bureau so I can share it, because I want to know what he thinks of buffing. And Grant Schwalbe from Estero, Florida. I've talked about him on here before. Great mentor. He's from our area originally. And we connected on Facebook and now one of my mentors and a great friend. He comes back home to a suburb of Toledo and he wants to go to Detroit and buff. And originally I'm like, it's a little close for me. Like I used to do this for a living, so it's not as much fun, but going to Detroit even and looking at how they do things tactically versus how we do things in Toledo, and seeing them like rearrange rigs in the middle of the fire or dropping their Detroit bundle in the front yard and then driving to the plug and hitting it that way and leaving so much room for the truck, and the truck's getting there ahead of the engine or right behind the first two engine, and just seeing the tactics. It's like, oh my God, you can learn so much by just watching, but we don't get that opportunity a lot. And so I think the way you make that opportunity is you go buff and you take pictures, you share that stuff for the sake of, the creative part of it. And so you don't look like somebody just sitting there watching the fire, at least look like you belong there in some form or fashion, or just if somebody asks, hey, I'm just a firefighter trying to learn. And I've never gotten bad feedback from that, but I still go to suburbs fires and shoot pictures because I first of all, I still like being a photographer. I still miss journalism in some respects, but also it's great learning stuff. And I don't get that chance when I'm on my own department to stop and take a picture. We're not allowed to, to stop and take a picture or look at something. I'll go to the fire the next day and take pictures of the house or take pictures of the commercial building or whatever, but it's still not the same as when it's going on, where you can notice things that maybe you didn't notice before. And so I know we've done, and I don't mean to put this out there, but from time to time, there've been instances where people from other departments have come in and done ride-alongs, which is a really cool idea. And I wish more departments would do that, open that up. And of course, with COVID right now, there's limitations, but video doesn't do it. Photos don't do it on their own. You have to be there and experience that to get an appreciation for fire behavior and for the way things move and the little observation when you can just stand there and watch the smoke change or watch a window open and see what it does to the whole house. It's just completely different. And most of our people don't get that chance until they're an officer taking command. And then that's the first time they've seen it from the outside. And how else do you give them that experience or replicate that? Because and maybe we don't need it, but I think we do. I think it helps paint that big picture of what is command looking for, what is changing, what are you doing when you're in there. So how else do we give people that? Does anybody else buff?
Plus, how else are we all supposed to get our super dope profile pictures for Facebook?
Damn straight. You are so welcome for that profile picture.
Yeah.
And that's part of why I do it too is, you need crew pictures and you need people. I love, I'm going to forget his name. I'm going to have to look it up, except I can't. Oh my God, Boston fire photographer and Bill Noonan. Most of his posts are pictures of people's faces. Ben Swanson, Glass City Fire Photos, or Glass City Fire Photography. You know, I paid him for the pictures that are on fireground4.com because he's got pictures of all of us at some point or another. You know, the memorable stuff is great, but also, you know, we'll sit there and have a conversation about fire tactics. He's an engineer. He's not in the fire service. He does a lot with our museum. He enjoys taking the pictures. He enjoys being at the fires, but he has no interest in being a firefighter. But he still probably has a better understanding of tactics than some of our people do in our classes, just because he's seen it and he can stand there and watch. And that's where I get really frustrated too when people are like, well, why are you going and taking pictures? It's like, because it's it's a free class. What better way to just take in information than to go buff? Like, if we can go to another city and chase their fires, like, yeah, on one hand, it's, you know, it's weird and you get yelled at maybe, but
I'm gonna be honest, I never even thought of it that way. Like, I kind of want to go do it now. Like, let's go.
Well, I work tomorrow.
Like, Lord, next month, let's go.
I'm down, dude.
All right,
like,
let's go.
I honestly never thought of it that way, of like, hey, you could use this to watch other people. And thinking about it in the way Barrett just put it, I'm like, dude, why would none of us do that? Like, that's a dope idea. Like, hey, I'm gonna go watch some other guys. Like Detroit, those dudes see more fire than the rest of any of us. Like, let's go watch them, learn from them, you know. And I mean, maybe you might be able to get to talk to a couple guys and kind of, you know, exchange information. We all go, like, how many of us go out of town? I know when I went to Chicago, my to-do list, everybody else is like, we're going to see Hamilton. I'm like, I'm going to a fire department because I want to go say hi.
Okay, but also you went and saw Hamilton, right?
No. I went to the Gucci store.
Now you're not invited to
wife.
my birthday party that hasn't even happened yet.
My wife wanted to go to the Gucci store to pretend like we had money. But
she must not be close to you right now.
No, she is right in the kitchen, and she will admit it.
That's where the knives are.
I know. But no, like, I've honestly never even thought of it that way. Like, go watch and just see how they do it. You know, it'd be a good way to learn, and you're just seeing other things. You know, like I said, we all go out of town and we go visit other departments because we're all like, hey, I want to go introduce. Hey, I'm from this place and that place, and you guys talk. But
buy a t-shirt, support their house fund.
Yeah, I mean, why not go and use it as a learning tool? You know. Yeah, dude, you just opened my eyes, man. I'm woke.
I'm so proud to be your mentor, even when you're being horribly sarcastic. Dan first, and then Josh, I'll get to you right after him, or I'll mute Dan and just let Josh talk.
Either or. Barrett, we a couple years ago, the first time I'd gone up and watched Detroit fight fire with you and Grant.
Yeah, you went with us. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I fully.
You went with us when we actually met and talked to Dave Furnell in his office too, the deputy commissioner.
Yeah.
Grant set that up. Grant just emailed him. I was like, hey, or Facebooked him, I think maybe. And we went and talked to the commissioner of Detroit, and he's telling us about apparatus movements. And yeah, and he almost went buffing with us.
Yeah. And we had to go for some reason, but he was like, you guys want to see the fireboat? You know, just because it was right nearby. And I don't think I really understood that experience and really what that was about, but I think I have a much different perspective now. And I agree. Like, it's definitely an opportunity just to watch in a situation where most of the time, you know, we're busy from the time we even pull onto the block. You know, it's just a different opportunity to stand across the street and just watch. And it is definitely different than watching videos. You know, when you're sitting there in the training room or sitting there at your desk, watching some guys fight a fire, it's a lot different than standing out in a block with them. And
you don't get to look for your own thing. You don't get to move around and look and see, like, oh, I want to see what this is doing over there. You're stuck to that perspective. And as someone who shot video for 6 years, you know, on a regular basis, that perspective, it's not that, you know, you're not seeing the whole picture. It's true, when you zoomed in, you're not seeing the whole picture, but it's not like, you know, it looks so much different. You know, there are memories I have from fires that I look at the video, it's like, that's not even what it looked like. That's what it looked like. I mean, it's video, but it's not what it looked like. You know, it's not what it didn't have that that 3 dimension to it that's so important. And shoot, I rode along with you. Well, I rode along with you when you were the duty officer. You rode along with me when you came here as the duty officer. And kudo, Josh popped off, but you know, Rossford does have the ride along waivers, and that's how we made that work. And but you know, but we're still a small town that the odd chance that we actually get a fire when Turner was staying at my house. But Josh, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I think from kind of what you stated earlier, officer development. You know, with Toledo being as close as they are to all of us, I mean, you know, you guys are going to see fires on a consistent basis that will probably take, you know, the rest of us a career, you know, to even just get a handful of some of those. So, you know, I think it's a unique opportunity for just what you said. That person that doesn't get to see these and the different types of, you know, home construction, clearly way different in the city of Toledo in some areas than what, you know, we have in some of the suburban areas. So from the firefighter perspective, it's awesome. You know, we all emulate. I mean, that's kind of what we do. We emulate, we develop our own. So I think it's key to get with that good officer. You know, I'll throw, you know, Bryce Blair out there. I mean, he's taught me so much just in the short time that he's been on our department. And my comfort level has changed. You know, when I was a little bit younger as a chief, as opposed to where I'm at now, and I still have a lot of room to grow. We all have a lot of room to grow.
Absolutely.
But he was instrumental in I think, you know, establishing some comfort and just being that rock that you kind of needed. So I love it, and I absolutely wish more places would do that.
And Bryce Blair, battalion chief on Toledo, who's a black hat for you guys, just for those who don't know. The legend of Bryce Blair. There's an amazing picture of him at the incident command point. He has got down to a science. If I could find it quickly, I would share it. I'll share it for the next. That's going to be the cover photo for the next podcast or the next kitchen table talk. So,
Josh, I just want you to know I basically look at you as like an Optimus Prime.
You warm my heart.
They can transform into a seal.
To get a job.
Oh God!
I already have a job there.
I wasn't going to mention it.
A full-time job.
Why is Mike making Mike? You can see that. You know that we can all see you making a kissy face at Josh right now, right? Yeah. Okay. There we go.
Got a little brown in the nose.
No, if I was really trying to get a like
different kind of butthole pucker,
a brown nose for a job, I'd be like, hey, I can guarantee 3 wins in Warzone tonight for that full-time spot. But I'm not gonna go that route because then I'd end up sucking at Call of Duty. So
but you had him thinking.
I did. A nose of your size can get pretty brown, though. You might do some damage.
I feel like that's something that gets knitted into one of those like home sweet home signs.
Tony, we figured that out at those lonely nights at Providence together.
And again, we're kitchen table. This is it. This is everything I dreamed it would be. Poop jokes.
I'm still big spoon like that here.
I'm okay with that. You make me feel warm inside.
Okay, so when we talk about oh my God, I don't even have something to change it to. I'm so scarred by that comment.
Transport engines.
No, stop. We're not doing that tonight. We have to get our people.
In all of you guys' research into the helmets, did anybody come across the Firehouse magazine? The one periodical that is the Bible of the fire service?
No, you're still looking up fire helmets?
I did.
Where it says
I did. I have it pulled up right here, Uncle Tony. The article they wrote.
So the post-test findings, and I quote, so making the change or not to a European helmet became a battle about features and how those features fit our needs. One of the statements made during this process was, can we have 2 helmets? The idea to have a traditional helmet for everyday use and public function, or the European style helmet for working fires and extrications. I think that statement summarized where our organization stood regarding helmets. Hang on.
Yeah, we didn't want to be seen in public with them. That's what I got from it.
No. There was a different quote I wanted to.
I'm buying my helmet tonight just because Mike is so against them. I just want to point that out. Right
Yeah, so much for that job. That's going to be like contingent upon, yeah, congratulations, you got the job, but here's your helmet.
when we looked at the
I'll bite the bullet.
It says, when we looked at the performance, it was overwhelmingly noticeable that the European helmets, through design and features, outperformed our current helmets. Both traditional and European helmets meet the same safety standard. We assumed the lighter helmet and more ergonomic helmet would be safer. But the data is not yet there to validate that statement. So
see, and that's the thing is, I hate to be that Debbie Downer. Thank you, Chad, for putting your helmet back on. It's still subjective, right? It's still a chief that bought the helmet saying it. And I'm not trying to question this guy. And heck, if let's see what his name is, Jason. Well, right, but he's the chief of that department. And so who's responsible for purchasing the helmets? It'd be bad if he said, yeah, we hated them, so we threw them all away, right? Like, not, and again, this is more of my journalism side coming out, where it's like, they gotta say they liked them, sort of, but maybe they really did. Maybe they really didn't really work for them. But again, you know, if we're gonna make decisions based on the argument of safety, let's put it that way. If it's more comfortable for you, like, we're allowed to wear whatever helmet we want. We get the salad bowls. I won't say what brand, but we get the salad bowls issued to us. But I wear my leather never mind. I wear my leather, and I also have a composite Phoenix as my backup. So we're allowed to wear whatever kind of helmet we want as long as it meets the standards. So if that's what I want to wear, and I said we have one guy that has two of those, but if your argument is safety over everything else, and your argument is, well, what if you hit the side of your face? It's like, where's the data that says we're hitting, you know? And I know freak accidents can happen, but most of what we're worried about in a fire is coming down on top of us most of the time. I want to see something that's a little more tangible, just out of my own curiosity. Like, again, maybe I'll put it on and it'll feel like I'm putting a pillow around my head and it feels amazing and I want to keep it, even if it smells like Chad's head, because it's probably the one I'm going to try on. But I just want to know, I want more of a reason than, maybe that's part of my push against it. It's not just how it looks, even though I will admit that is part of it. Maybe the other push I have against it is this argument that it's safer and better, and why aren't we going to it? But what's there to back that up? And so, and I argue that on Facebook all the time when people are like, well, we have to do this, but there's no evidence to back it up. It's like, okay, like, just show me evidence, and then I'll.
Well, I would say read the article. Because
yeah, I'm looking at it, and I've read it before.
Talks about crawling down the hall and easier to look up, and points that were already made.
Right, but I mean, like, a scientific, peer-reviewed. Like, I want to see something more than essentially yes, an editor read this article because it's in Firehouse Magazine, but Ed Hart. Are there multiple articles here?
There
are multiple articles. Okay, sorry. Yeah, there's a couple writers.
But but if you're saying technical evidence or scientific evidence, most of what we do is subjective, from a comfort standpoint, from an ease of use standpoint, from a ergonomic standpoint. I mean, extrication tools.
Right. So if you're going to make me change
people have said,
I don't
well,
want
this
you to
one's
be
so
subjective.
heavy and this one's not.
Yeah.
Or this one you can manipulate better, or this one opens and closes faster.
But we also have data that says this one cuts this much at this force, and this one,
right? So there's,
this one has
how many
27
pounds
inches
of
of
force
spread.
does it?
Yeah,
I agree.
we have both sides of that subjectiveness, and we're willing. And I'll agree with you, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but I'll agree with you that, yeah, we're going to trade. Maybe we get the 27-inch cutters from this brand because they're lighter than this brand. Sure, there's going to, then you can weigh your pros and cons, but it's because you have comparison points. We don't have comparison points right now, so I'm going to stay with my subjective comfort thing and not change. But if you can objectively tell me that it's safer for me, it's going to be that much harder for me to argue as somebody who thinks that it's part of our responsibility in the fire service to set a good example and push for positive change. I
think in order to come up with that data, though, you're going to have actual line use where there's incidents that happen where you've got, two guys, one wearing a traditional, one wearing
Well,
jet.
it can't be line use because you can't do a true comparison. But even just like just the fatigue test and stuff that I'm sure they do. If somebody can find it,
We're gonna need
it's
to
out there. Oh, I didn't see your hand up because you have that crazy ass background that hides your hand.
we're gonna need to contact Mythbusters.
Chad.
So if you're going to do a true round robin, it has to be the same person wearing multiple different helmets.
Or a machine taking simulated wear and tear, or how much can you hit the side of
There's only
this
one
part of the
person
helmet with?
I think that's gonna really put it through the test, and I vote Dan Dorner is the one to put both helmets through the test, and he gives us the opinion.
Why?
Because you go to fires all the time for some reason.
Yeah,
and we don't understand why.
And you're pretty good at like putting things through rigorous testing.
I think that makes me dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
If
I accidentally get into precarious situations.
Well, I'm just saying, Dan.
If everybody chips in
remember the warranty
$35
situation
in here right now, we could buy Dan a helmet to try out.
Everything you've stated is subjective, but I think in order to objectively look at it, you're going to have to look at PWC. You're going to have to look at claims with firefighters, neck fatigue, injuries, certain things like that. That's the only data that I think you'll find objectively. Everything else is going to be exclusively subjective.
Right.
Hey,
and,
Josh.
and even just the industrial testing would be cool to see, or just knowing what that pressure is rated for on the side. If it's if they can say, well, 30 pounds is getting impacted with this for a comparison's sake, but even the BWC, like, yeah, maybe neck fatigue is going to be tied to that, but how much of the neck fatigue is the SCBA pulling down on us? There's still so many of those variables that would be really hard to pick apart, I think.
In order for it to be NFPA approved, doesn't it have to meet the same standards? Like you mentioned, motorcycle helmets. In order for a motorcycle helmet to be approved, it has to be DOT or SNELL certified, depending on which state you're in. But in order for it to be approved for fire service use, it has to at least meet or exceed the standards.
Yes, and so that's what I'm saying is if it meets the same standards, I'm not going to change for something that's the same level when I'm comfortable with a brim versus a side. But I'm saying, like your example with the side impact, like I'll absolutely, yeah, that's giving you protection you don't have right now. So tell me how much protection that can take. Is it really a fall from 10 feet into the basement and I hit something? Is that really, what is that actually rated to hold up to? Because there is no NFPA rating for this piece, right? If it's only this portion, stupid hand gesture. If it's only this portion that most traditional helmets have, then this part probably doesn't have an NFPA portion to it. Again, without being able to look it up because NFPA is a pain in the ass to log into to read their standards for free.
NFPA 1971 version 2018.
Do you have it in front of you?
No.
Oh, I'm like, did you pull it up? If you pulled it up, find the part with the sidey part, the chin.
You should have just said, yeah, I'm a good driver right after you finish that.
If you look at the change that we had with COTS, or stretch and load systems within the fire service, that was all subjective. It was subjectively influenced because of back injuries that could never be proved exclusively to the COT. But look at what has been as a result of all of these new systems being put in. We've seen a decrease in back injuries.
I'm just gonna say on COTS, the only one that just needs to be thrown out is the Inferno COT. Okay, just I don't know whose idea. I don't know whose idea that was, but that guy he needs like an evaluation on how terrible that COT is. Yeah, it's cool and it's got lights, but that thing sucks. And if my deputy chief of one of the departments I work for hears this, I will, again, if you want me to make a PowerPoint on how bad it sucks, I will. It's terrible. Right,
Thank
Baker?
you. Dude, there goes another sponsorship. Thanks a lot.
God, man.
That's fine. That is okay.
Bullard.
I'm making a list here.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll go. Who's a representative of Inferno? I'll tell him it's a terrible COT.
No, I don't know. Did Craig already leave? Craig might sell them.
I will say it to
Craig
their
left
face
a while ago. God.
You guys, like, I mean, it's the cot itself is okay. Yeah, this great concept and stuff.
Are you still like? We're done.
It's
This
horrible.
Is too much. I don't.
I
care.
want you guys to know how bad I hate it. Have you
That's
guys ever
subjective.
played with one?
No,
Yes.
but we're talking about fire helmets, not EMS cots.
This is the Fireground training kitchen table talk.
Oh,
But
I'm sorry.
Not that
We
I
don't
want
do
No
to
EMS allowed.
but
We don't do EMS too.
not bitching
No.
about cots for 10 minutes.
No
God.
EMS allowed.
Just only 80%, or no,
I-
sorry, 20%, something like that. It's not-
Yeah.
We can absolutely. I love EMS almost as much as I love fire for different reasons. Fire's the hot sister, but EMS is the one that's always there for you and makes you think. That's just a tough choice. I'm drawing a lot of comparisons. I really hope the girlfriend's not watching out there.
I'm just saying,
She
Josh
doesn't
brought
have a
up
hot.
cots, and I hate that cot just as much as I hate. Well, okay, maybe I'll wear a European helmet before I see that cot and all.
Well, we
kinds
figured
of
out how to
ways.
get Mike to wear a European helmet then.
You heard it here first.
Before you throw me underneath the bus, I was using a comparison, Mike. Come on.
Okay.
Yeah, the BWC thing is interesting because I feel like I'm trying to think of what the other variables would be for neck injuries.
Now my other thing, with the neck injury thing, like, so if you're gonna test the helmets, you almost have to figure out what packs and masks you're gonna use, because like our new masks at Rossford are extremely lighter than our old masks.
Your masks are. Did you guys you guys went to bigger bottles though, right?
No, we went with the same bottles.
Oh, they looked bigger.
But-
Damn. Okay.
But the masks
My
are
eyes do deceive me.
the masks are extremely light, so you have to take consideration what other equipment you're using while testing both helmets too.
We're like barking up the tree of like trying to plan a scientific actual like study here.
Dan Dorner should be writing all this down so he knows what he's testing.
$35. My Venmo is, and we'll buy Dan a helmet. I love that we went full circle though. We couldn't stay away from it. God.
Now, I'm wondering if we can get BWC to form a grant for this.
Got Chad? If I
Chad
didn't
just
need you so
volunteered.
much for the Fireground Training Bureau stuff,
I would be
yell at
willing
you
to
right
partner with you on that one, Chad. I think we could get it done.
Do it.
When we get the Southwest Lucas County Fire District established, we could all switch to Euro helmets.
There it is.
I mean, isn't it already covered? I'm looking up right now.
Is it covered under the Safer grant, or not the Safer, but the
FIG?
It's not covered under that.
Figaro. No, it's not.
It's probably covered under the other one. Might be. I just
Okay.
have a brilliant idea.
Well, this was counterproductive. Or if you're on the European jet helmet side, this was productive.
It's a jet helmet. We're getting rid of the European label.
Yeah, but aren't fighter jets going to think you're kind of a nerd for calling it a jet helmet? We need a fighter jet pilot in this one. Jared
Pretty
in
sure
the
they're gonna
chat.
say that's cute. This isn't a fighter. This isn't a fighter helmet.
No matter what, you're just pissing people off. It's an amazing skill. That is the one thing that objectively this fire helmet does, is it pisses people off. I still will try it on. I just haven't made it down to Providence to come visit and try that helmet on, but I'll try it. And if I like it, I'm going to be mad because then I'm going to, what if they made it leather? Never mind. So we're at 10 o'clock. People are, do they, what? They do?
Yeah.
Just like faux leather, like a,
Stop.
take it out of a used Ford.
I'm Googling it right now.
It would look like a dash hound.
A dachshund?
Yeah.
Why do people say dash hound all the time? It's dachshund. It's German. Now we're full, isn't it? Is dachshund's German, right?
Yeah, but you got to yell it for effect.
Dachshund. It sounded more like my God,
What-
what's
what
his
is the
name?
weight
It
difference?
sounded like Christopher Walken.
What is the weight difference, Chad? How much does that helmet weigh
Between a
compared to the
dachshund
traditional?
and a
Is it a pound?
I'm
it
not
looked
sure.
like 0.6 of a pound on that Firehouse article. At least the ones they were looking at.
Come by the station. You can wear it anytime, Josh.
But weight
I'm ordering
difference.
mine. I already told you I was last time. It's going down.
Weight
I'm down.
difference depends on where it's at. Just like you hold a gallon of water straight out in front of you versus up to your chest. A gallon of water is a hell of a lot heavier out front.
So how much does it weigh if you hold that out in front of you?
I don't know, but I know I had a solid brass eagle that was given to me that I put on a helmet one time, and I could not effing believe the difference between the little stamped piece of metal that you get
Oh,
with
yeah.
and the actual brass. It was like walking around with a nozzle on top of my head.
Try it with a real eagle. Impossible.
Never
Heavy
wants
as
to sit
hell.
still.
And yeah, and the damn thing won't just sit there.
But I bet you feel American as
Freaking
hell.
huge. Damn straight with my leather helmet.
Yeah,
More
hell
4th of
yeah.
July
And a
costume
bald
stuff.
eagle sitting on top of it.
I know what
Smelled
I'm
like
doing this
fried
4th of
chicken.
July. Next party, just leather helmet, my super dope outfit that Uncle Tony hates, and just I'm gonna find me a
Your
bald eagle.
Your East Toledo pajamas?
First off, I wasn't wearing SpongeBob pajama pants. That's East Toledo pajamas.
What do we want to talk about next week? Nah, unless we can get Kelly on for transport engines. We could do transport engines next week. We'll be the opposing viewpoint that there's no concern about the other half.
You can't do that to him. Now, come on. You got to make it equal.
No. The other half that you were concerned about, we won't bring on. Yeah. We won't start a war. We're just gonna have a little battle.
I gotta have my boys back and everything.
Yeah, no,
Come on.
absolutely. I'm all open to it. And you know what? Then Mike can talk about COTS all he wants. People are dropping like flies right now off the Zoom call. So we could try it next week if you can convince Kelly to get on the call. I'll put it down. Chad, you taking notes? Transport engines. One of the things, Kyler, who was on here earlier, I wanted to get to him and we ran out of time. One of the things he and I talked about recently, smart kid, younger guy in the fire service. He had a pretty good conversation the other night about driver's training and how we have the struggle of like getting rigs out the door and now officers have to drive when newer people can't drive yet. What time frame are departments looking at in that realm of getting people signed off on driving? What sort of programs do you have in place? So I think that'd be kind of a cool thing to talk about. We didn't get to hit tonight. And then we need a third topic to post on Facebook. Anybody else have anything on your mind you want to talk about for 2 hours on Sunday night next week?
Search.
Well, so with that, we will put down search. I just got to twist my pencil because I messed it up. So
we want to.
Wait a minute. You're using a pencil that's not a traditional that you sharpen old school. So you're using technology to your benefit. Did you get a study on that pencil to tell you that it was better? Or
I like where this is going.
No, because it's a pencil.
That's subjective, though.
Very subjective.
Yeah.
Are we about to argue about pencils?
Hey, Tony.
I
Tony,
use
when
a
you
quill
get into your
and
car, do you buckle up with your 5-point harness, or do you use the one that came with the car?
I usually
Wait. When he first rode a car, they didn't even have seatbelts.
Yeah, and they had to pedal with their feet.
Yeah.
I used to ride in the back of the station wagon.
Yeah,
facing backwards.
They'd go get one of those big old stack of ribs, and the car would tip over.
I'm not the oldest. Am I the oldest person on here? I can't be. I'll be 52 in May.
I'm
30.
Yeah, I think cumulatively you're older than all of us.
You.
Oh, I only said that because you're not in the room.
This is a
with me.
traditional pencil.
Well, I can guarantee this is not a European pencil. So this is still made
You better
USA.
do some research to make sure
Is it
it
lead or
wasn't.
graphite? If it's lead, it's European.
What's the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
3.2.
So if
African
you-
or European?
Are you
Jared.
suggesting coconuts migrate?
Hey, does anyone read Japanese?
That's an odd question.
Well, the only reason I say that is because there actually is one, and I'm going to go back to the helmets. We are going to go back 4 times. There is an official study now on the psychological and objective evaluation of Japanese, European, and U.S. firefighter helmets, gloves, and boots for international
Croatian.
standards.
Mechanical pencils are made by Croatians.
I had
that
that
the-
one. I think I had that one earlier.
Jared, you sound
Croatian
You
in
sound like
Europe.
Becky.
Josh, was that the Shakuro
I have it
helmet?
in English.
I think that's what it said. Yeah, I don't have
No.
any. Well, I don't read Japanese very well.
Well,
Is
I
it-
looked it up.
Is it this one? Hold on, I'm sending it in the chat. That was the one that I don't think you were on yet. Were you on when we were talking about rectal temperatures and thermometers popping out of our butts?
No.
Okay, because the
Better
abstract.
remembered that, wouldn't you?
You said it. You said the. I would hope
He's like, I'm kind of mad I missed it.
the European, Japanese, and U.S. protective helmet, gloves, and boots for firefighters. That's the one you're looking at by Ju Young Lee.
Let me look. This would be by Yamamoto Yota.
Wow, we had 2 studies of the same thing. Because this one, I just posted it in the chat if you want to take a look. But this one said, and this is why it was so important. They did Japanese, European, and U.S. firefighter helmets. The results showed there was no significant difference among the 3 conditions in oxygen consumption, heart rate, total sweat, mean skin temperature, or rectal temperature. Whereas peripheral temperatures and subjective perceptions were lower in the Japanese helmet than in the others. So what does a Japanese helmet look like? I so hope, I can't even say that because I don't know.
So I looked it up, and it kind of looks like a mixture between the traditional, like almost I don't know what material it was, but it was like the old traditional, but it had like a long, I don't know, I want to call it Nomex, but a long hood that came down.
It looks like a miner's helmet.
Like a drapery.
Oh, yeah.
Down over the back of your neck.
Yeah.
So it's got the drape, but it
California
really,
style
yeah, I
helmets.
was gonna say it just looks like the California. Good call, Logan. Always positively contributing as we just make this a cluster of discussion.
Maybe
Oh,
it's
cool.
a new trend with
Logan
the
still
Okay,
Japanese
hold
helmet.
on.
I can.
They got a couple old helmets that are Japanese style that I'd rock because I mean that looks like a samurai.
I can say this because I looked it up and this is really where it's from, and I wanted to make sure. And then Jared, I'll get to your question or hand raised. I would probably wear it if it was a Power Rangers helmet. And Power Rangers are from Japan. Jared,
I call Green Ranger.
you asshole.
So I have an idea
Fact that
for
you
discussion
know the
next
Power
week.
Rangers.
Oh, Jared, you got talked over because nobody respects you.
Wow.
Evidently, they're all just talking.
I'm gonna be surprised if we even hear Jared's voice and not Becky. Actually, I want to hear Becky instead of Jared now.
Jared,
That's
Jared,
harsh, bro. Harsh.
I think they're being quiet now. Go ahead, Jared.
All
We're
right,
all listening.
so
What'd you say, Jared?
So yeah.
I'm coming over there. I'm fucking fighting you. So
Sorry, one more time, we're breaking up.
a topic I would be interested in hearing more about, especially with the amount of knowledge and experience that's usually involved in these, is the implementation of different type of probationary trainings, or like how different departments go about training their probational members. Like I know like your bigger departments like Toledo have an academy, but your suburban departments usually don't have that type of, opportunity or means to do something like that. So I would be interested to hear the different techniques and things that other departments and other areas do to train their probationary people. Because
See, I don't respect you either. I'm sorry. I just interrupted you. Go ahead. Finish your thought. I'm really excited for the last 2 words.
because I mean that's something I took over for Dan after he left. Is I took over the probationary training stuff, and okay, so
And I
feel
left it a mess.
I kind of got thrown a shit show of a situation where I'm pretty much starting from the bottom because
you took over from Dan.
Dan, did you just hear what he basically said about your training program?
It's not
It was
that.
shit.
It's
That's
not
what he
that.
said.
Is I didn't receive a lot of help from current people on the department in trying to make this the best I can. So
Because Dan didn't set you up for success.
I left my password to get all the files.
You guys can talk about Rossford specific later. The question that I got excited about to know. So yes, we'll talk about that next week, but also something to just think about if, especially in this area, because I think we're narrowed down now to just people in this area. If there could be an academy kind of experience, and I know Washington Township in Lucas County has done like a new person academy on like Saturdays at like for 8 hours or whatever for a certain amount of time. So hopefully maybe we can get somebody from Washington Township on here. But on top of that, if there was the option for something that like it was through Fire 1 or through Fire 2, let's ignore the price part for a second, because of course it's always going to screw it up. But it could go through Fire 1 and Fire 2 and also then give you like beyond that, right? Like beyond the basics, but still the basics, just beyond the base curriculum in an academy setting for your probationary firefighters. Do you think your departments would be interested? Because that's been in the back of my mind as something that would be really cool to do, is start like a regional simulated sort of academy situation where
academy like structure or like discipline.
I don't mean to like
not like Mike
cut you off, but there is a captain of a certain department that you should speak to about something like that.
Is he right above you in the Brady Bunch?
No, it's Kevin. He had a kind of brilliant idea that he'd like to get going, is more of an organized
we talked
group.
about that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So
okay. Yeah, that part. And maybe that's just an offshoot of that. But yeah, and maybe we can find out who has something like that, either a group for consistent training or I just don't want to spill the beans too much on that until we get some balls rolling. Well, that didn't sound right. It's getting late. I'm gonna go get another glass of wine. Or who has like a regional academy? Like, yeah, here in Ohio we have Columbus or Reynoldsburg, the State Fire Academy. But then it's up to individual departments to either send them there or, I wonder if there'd be interest, especially if it was something geared toward the volunteer schedule. But how do you do that and then go? I don't know. So let's talk about that too. I like that. Thank you, Jared. I respect you.
I respect you too, Barrett. Fuck all you guys.
I used to respect you, Jared.
Oh, damn.
No,
wait.
About 30 seconds
ago.
ago.
More Indian food.
Aw.
So the last thing
That's
I
all
want to
right,
mention.
Dan. I'll make you smoked lobster.
Deal.
You'll make him smoked lobster? Is that what you said? Or you'll make him smoke a lobster?
I'll make him smoke lobster. Like I smoke it and then give it to him.
Oh, I was like, can you even roll it up that tight?
Did you not have some?
Pass?
That's whoa.
Did I have some? Did you give me smoked lobster?
No.
Well, I don't want to come to your birthday party anyway. Last thing I'm going to mention, we have, by this time next week, we should have finalized a couple more steps, and we're going to have a huge training announcement for, it'll be in Northwest Ohio. Can't say where yet. And it's going to be, first of all, incredibly emotional. Second of all, incredibly meaningful, I think, to this area and to firefighters that don't usually get a chance to do what we're going to be able to put on because of some great people that are willing to help us out and give this opportunity to firefighters. So that's all I can say about it right now. But the whole team, Mike, first of all, Mike for making so much of this happen. Dan, Chad, and then Eric Pinkham and Dan Turner. Turner left. What a jerk. All these guys, just starting today, we had a meeting to start working this out, and it's going to happen quick because it has to. We'll explain that too, but it's going to be an awesome opportunity, and you're going to want to come in next Sunday just to hear what that's about and find out how to sign up for the list for that. So that is where we're going to end things tonight. And actually,
I just want to say that'll be a good opportunity to pass around that European helmet you got.
Yeah,
that is very true. So,
also,
if you're willing to share it, I'm not volunteering your property.
I just need to talk to you after this is all over about that.
Yeah,
too.
no worries. And perfect. And Josh, if you don't mind hanging over too, I was going to bug you about something if you don't mind for it being this late. So
penguin related?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. Is Is it more a shuffle or a waddle? But we'll get to that. So next week on the Fireground Training Bureau Kitchen Table Talk, we are talking drivers training, implementing Pro-B training along with that, possibly transport engines, and we're definitely going to be talking about search. Thank you guys all for joining us tonight and making this really feel like exactly like a damn kitchen table at an engine house. You guys are the best, and we'll see you next week.
It is.